Motivational Monday. And as I promised, we're going to be talking about forgiveness today. And we are going to tie all of the different talks that we've had through this month together as well. So let's jump right in. Forgiveness can be one of the hardest things in the world to do. And because when we feel like that we need to forgive someone, it comes from a very, very personal place a lot of times. We can forgive strangers, they butt in front of us. We don't carry that with us. It doesn't traumatize us. But some things that have happened in our lives that have been very horrific, or things that have changed your perception even of people and of the world, it can be extra hard to forgive because it's something that affected you personally in a deep way by someone that had meaning to you. So once you start thinking about what is it that I need to forgive, or who is it I need to forgive, it in itself can bring up very negative feelings, and it can be just a process. Lots of times we think of forgiveness as I just need to forgive and move on. But if it's something that has been very, very deep and very, very hurtful for you, it can totally be a process, and that's okay. That's a good thing. Is okay, I know that I need to let this go. And I've heard it said a million times that forgiveness is more about for me than it is for the person, and it holds me back and all of these things. But you don't know what happened to me, and you don't know what they did to me, and you don't know how it affects me. And I just can't let them off the hook just like that. And when I see them, they act like it didn't even bother them, or that they don't even remember whatever was done, or that just get over it, just quit bringing it up, just move on, all of those things. And that in itself is very, very hurtful and makes the forgiving sometimes even harder. So let's go back just a little bit. When you think about forgiveness, it's important that you go all the way back to the very first incident and what happened and how it made you feel and all of that. Not that we need to dwell on it, but you need to know exactly everything that you need to forgive. And so you can look at this incident and say, oh, okay, I don't like that they talked to me in a disrespectful way. So I know I need to forgive that. But as you go back in your head and go back over incidences, this could be something that has gone on for a long time, or it has happened to you with a lot of different people in a lot of different ways. So my forgiveness then is just not about this incident right here, but it's a long list of things that have taken place. So it's important that you journal that as well. What is all of this, the continuum in this, is that somehow I'm always getting disrespected, or I'm always getting looked over, or people feel like they can just talk to me any kind of a way. And so I'm not just forgiving that this person talked to me any kind of way, but that this is a going on process. Now, next month, we are going to deal with patterns and how they repeat themselves. So I'm not going to go into that right now. But for now, that means that I need to go all the way back to the first incident that I can remember, where I held on to that and it's built up and now it's happening over and over. One thing that you will find is when we hold on to something, it is bound to happen over and over, because we do, in a lot of ways, create our own reality. So it's important that I forgive, or else I'm going to keep on having a lot of the same things happen. So in that forgiving process, I want you to remember one thing that's very important, is forgiving is not forgetting. Forgiving is not forgetting. And I know from a Christian standpoint, people say we need to forgive and forget. I understand that. But in our own human stand, in our own humanness, it's something that is almost impossible to do. And for me personally, I want to give you a different viewpoint, my viewpoint on that forgiveness and forgetting. And I will use myself again as an example. Is when I was about 12 years old, I was at some kind of little church group or whatever, and we were in the room, and a lady was teaching us to crochet, and the room was sort of cold, so she had a little space heater there while everything got warm. And so I was learning how to crochet, and I was doing, and I asked her, the teacher, is this how you do it? And she said, oh yes, Renee, that's so great. And this other little girl, I guess she was jealous of me or having a bad day, I don't know. She came up to me and she pulled it out of my hand, and it made me fall back, and I fell on the back of that heater. The heater fell on the back of my leg, and it burnt my leg really, really bad. And for the longest, I thought, oh, I'm never going to get over this. And oh my goodness, it's going to hurt forever. And, had a problem walking, all sorts of things that happened to a little girl. And every time I saw her at church, it was like she never said she was sorry, and she's just mean, and she's just jealous, and it went on, and it grew. As I grew, the dislike for her grew. And every time I saw my leg and had that scar on there, it grew, and I was just like, she's just mean, and blah, 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 blah. And so as time went on, I had to say, okay, I cannot keep carrying this on. Clearly, she doesn't care that she burnt me and whatever. And now I'm about 17, 18 years old. She's gone her way. I've gone my way. But I still did have the scar. I have the scar to this day. But the point I'm trying to make is that even though I had the scar of it, after a while, it just didn't hurt anymore. And the scar sort of faded, but you can still sort of see it. I've seen the lady from time to time. I've been able to move on. And so I just forgave her and moved on. She was just a kid, whatever happened. But what it did to me is I don't stand very close to space heaters now. And as my kids were little, no, you don't need to be so close to, because the effect of what happened was there. So I will never forget the day that I got pushed on the heater, but it's non-entity now. But if I get close to that situation, then it brings back like, oh, you don't want to do that. That's dangerous. That's my sort of take on forgiveness, is that I can forgive you for whatever it was that you've done for me, to me, but it could raise a red flag with me, is that, well, I can still be friends, but I can't trust you with my darkest secret. Or I can still be nice to you or whatever, but you're not somebody who I want to be a bosom buddy to me. Or I can speak to you and all of those things, and whatever is necessary if I have to encounter you, but I know that there's some danger about you. And so for me, I don't feel like that's wrong at all. And I'm not trying to get spiritual, but even after Jesus's death, he still had the scars of the nail prints in his hand. Even though he had forgiven those people who did that to him, the scar was still there. And it still was a reminder of the things that's happened. So I digress. But so it's important that in the forgiving process, you see that this is a stage. It is stages. It's not just going to happen overnight. And then some things that come back to your remembrance, or things that happen, it may throw you back into a tailspin, and you may have to forgive again. One of the easiest ways that I know to actually forgive a person is if that person is not a nice person, not a good person, or whatever, and they did ugly things, then if I don't take that personal, it's easy for me to forgive them. What do I mean by that? Is guess what? That person was going to be ugly to somebody anyway because they had their own issues. They were going to molest somebody, they had already, they were going to abuse somebody, whatever the case may be, whatever it is. I just happened to be in the path and be vulnerable or whatever. And so I got caught up in whatever the issue was. But I don't have to take it personal because that is who that person was, whether they ever met me or not. That helps me to be able to forgive them because I know that that issue did not start with me. It came from a whole other place. I just was a part of their sickness at that time. And then another thing that is a great step toward forgiveness is as I said, it's a process, is let me work on forgiving this part of it. I need to forgive that that person said this to me and did this to me and all of that. I can't forgive right now that he kept doing it or she kept saying it or this kept happening, but I can forgive this part of it right here. This is something that's easy for me to forgive, is the part where this happened, like I say, when I was 10 years old or 12 years old or whatever the case may be. And then I can work toward the other part. I can also, one of the greatest ways to to forgive is to give that person their baggage back, if that's at all possible. What does that mean? To give that person that baggage back is to confront them about the thing that happened. And I'm not asking for you to say you're sorry. If you are, that's great. But what I'm doing is letting you know how this has affected me, how this has made me feel, how I'm dealing with this, and how I'm moving on from that issue. So I'm giving that guilt, that shame, all of the stuff that goes along with it, where I'm always dealing with this and always upset about it and all. I'm giving that back to you, because what happens is the person that did you wrong, you can say, like, they don't even act like it matters to them. It doesn't matter to them because it's not hurting them, it's hurting you. And so you need to at least let that person know. And once I let them know, I can give that back to them and let them deal with that. Then I can move on. And as I say, it's still a process. Some days it's easier and you can say, I think I'm good. Other days, as I say, something may happen that may bring it back. And you still work on that. No, I need to let that go. And if it's bringing about negative results in my life, then I know that that person is controlling me, or that thing is controlling me. And when they did wrong, they had control over me. I'm not going to allow them to keep on having control over my life, because it's affecting my decisions. It's affecting my health. It's affecting my well-being. So now, how do those things come together? If you don't forgive, it can bring about the anger that we talked about last week. You can hold on to expectations that you felt of this person, and they did not honor their expectations that they said they had or that you thought they should have. And so you can have anger that can be displayed in a lot of different ways. As I said last week, it can end up being road rage, or being ugly to your child, or being mean at work, or whatever the case may be. So it's important that you forgive, because it's affecting your anger zone, who you are. Then that perfectionism sometimes has a lot to do with whenever a situation happened in your life, you did not have control over it. So now I can try and have control. I can expect the best from me. I am perfect. I can have validation for my life. I can feel good about myself. And as I said a few weeks ago, perfectionism in and of itself is nothing wrong, but knowing that we never are going to be perfect, okay? And that if perfection becomes a disease for you, where you're now a workaholic and you're addicted to saving money so that I never have to ask anybody else again, whatever the case may be, you understand the examples, I'm sure, then I'm going to need to go and forgive that person of whatever that is, because it's making me a menace to society and a menace to myself. And as a result of that, I am not truly able to live out my purpose, what I was created to do in life, because now fear holds me back, because I'm afraid to go out at night, or I'm afraid that people may not like my cake that I want to bake, or whatever it is. So I can't truly live out my purpose, because I have still allowed whatever this event was to totally control me. So I do need to forgive so that I can live in my purpose, so that I can be good as I need to be, or as I can be, and be okay with that, and not be driven with anxiety and stress because I'm not to this level of perfection. And I can let go of anger from people who I had expectations of, who I felt like they did me wrong, all of those different things. And I take the anger out on myself, on others, all of that. I turn to addictive behaviors, all kind of things. So it plays a major part in your life when you don't forgive. I hope that you have gotten something out of our series that we did this month, and I am looking forward to all that we're going to be talking about next month. And guess what? If you want to contact me, you can at unitedforlife54@gmail.com. And if you have some questions or some comments you would like to make, or if you would like to talk to me personally, or if you have suggestions of topics that you would like for me to go over with, then please feel free to do that. Understanding that forgiveness is power, and it's taking back control of your life and not allowing anyone else to keep controlling you. Have a blessed, blessed Motivational Monday, and we'll see you next time.